I embrace it all, the good, bad, ugly, and small. Unconditional like the synonymous and Seminoles. Comfort in struggle. Discomfort brings forth the remote. The carnage comes with quotes depicting weather with no leisure. Treasures you can't measure, for naught is not a thought. Peeling holes that renders the soul. Remote like resorts, denote the low, faceless like dough. Clay faced with a mess, chaos with a hint of careless. They speak toe. Hello everyone, welcome back to Poetry Journal Podcast. I am your host, Alex Murder. And what you just heard there was just a little snip of the quote I'm doing today. I want to kind of expand on. I don't want to take too much time veering away from what we're looking at today. So I hope that was. So I hope you get like a little understanding where I'm going, or you can at least grasp a little bit that I just spoke about. But let me go back into it, and then if you could just allow me to unpack this a little bit. Okay. It's the whole thing. I embrace it all, the good, bad, ugly and small, unconditional like synonymous and Seminoles. Comfort in the struggle. Discomfort brings forth the remote. The carnage comes with quotes depicting weather with no leisure. Treasures you can't measure, for naught is not a thought. Peeling holes that renders the soul. Remote like resorts, denote the loathe. Faceless like dough, clay face with the mess. Chaos with a hint of careless, they speak toe. Polarizing are the faculties dominating the moments, for there's no guarantees in the next, or whatever comes after me. Now, for me personally, I for one actually feel this one, and I hope you can relate, of course. And to this quote, questions. So these are the questions that I really wanted to kind of illustrate beyond the quote. Maybe spanners in the work, if you will, that may incite, inspite. So, who are you in the face of chaos? Meaning, is that like are you, well, in this day and age, like, who are you, or who have you known yourself to become, or known to be, in the face of adversity, chaos, when situations develop in a that you might find unpredictable, almost it's hard to figure, it's hard to just come up with, it's hard to decipher, hard to see a way out, hard to understand, to summarize. So who are you in the face of chaos? What's your reaction when madness takes place? How do you react to difficult situations, perhaps? Or, just sudden things where it's out of your control and you just don't see it coming. How do you react to it? What's your take on self-acceptance? Self-growth. Are you big on such a concept? Like, what's your perception of self-growth? How do you deal with criticism? How do you deal with criticism? And my last question would be, what are your reaction to the many faces life has to offer pertaining to adversity? Okay. I guess I'll take some time to just speak on them from my point of view. Me personally, I have grown to be a person that there's two types of people where you have people that you need peace to thrive, and I do appreciate when there's peace and etc. But I feel like I've kind of almost, best way to describe it is almost like the plant that, or the flower that thrives in concrete almost. So I guess what I'm saying to say is, in the face of chaos, I've kind of learned that I'm a person that thrives in chaos. Not by design, but I guess through growth, you learn to understand almost like the different seasons of life. And so whatever you there's a certain sequence or developed consistency, whatever time you're going through. Whether, like, when I say time, I think I mentioned where it's almost like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and so you almost learn to grow, or you almost learn to almost understand and adapt and thrive and grow and understand more of who you are within certain aspects of those type of situations. And I think it's a revelation that can serve everyone very well if you pay attention to it. I would say that. What is your reaction when madness takes place? I think it's more of like an evolution of the question I'm asking about chaos. Like, when madness takes place, and we always said, what type of person are you? Are you the type to fold? Are you the type to make a lemonade when you're given lemon, kind of thing? And this is the thing, is just almost like, these questions also, like, which leads me to the next one. What's your take on self-acceptance? And I think this is pivotal. It's a big part of it, where understanding yourself and being happy with who you are, good, bad, long and short, like, regardless of what the situation, no matter your traits, you understand and you embrace it. I think a lot of us struggle with accepting who we are. And, I always find in that situation that could be a double-headed sword. And so, consequently, self-growth becomes almost like the antidote, the eye-opener, where it shows you who you are, but also whether you're a fan of the person you're becoming or you have been thus far. Which leads to the next question: how do you deal with criticism? And so, being critical can also, because of everything we've mentioned, can be seen consequently because of who you've developed to be. Pertaining to all these questions can be almost like it could either be an allergy, where it's almost like you have the worst reaction to revelations to who you are as a person, or it's uplifting. Sometimes I get the idea where, or like my perception is that a lot of people react to their revelation of who they are like an allergic reaction, and they just don't like it, and their body, their mind knows it, and that's a problem. And finally, what are your reactions to the many faces life has to offer pertaining to adversity? Which encapsulates literally everything that we just spoke about. Who you are, growth, the way you see things, your perception in yourself, acceptance. What is, what you can change, what you can't. So, I like to leave those questions there, people to ponder on. Let's go to more. I want to do something a bit more current today, in terms of like relating to this topic still. And I was thinking more about one person, LeBron James. I'm sure many are aware. Well, let me start with this. For those who don't know, LeBron James, NBA player, Ramon James Sr. I'm sure there's not many people out there that don't know who he is, but if you don't, NBA player, 38 years old now, from Akron, Ohio, United States. Net worth, 1 billion. Height, 6'9" or 2.06 meters. Why am I bringing this up? Well, NBA draft 2003, first pick, round one, first pick for round one overall in the NBA draft for the Cleveland Cavaliers, currently with LA, Los Angeles Lakers. And I wanted to kind of just, so let's start with this. So the other day, well, was it yesterday or the day before? He became the NBA's all-time score leader. He took the lead from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he became the NBA lead scorer. And you know what? Yeah, it kind of just encapsulate everything that we're speaking about now. And when I thought about at the time when I was thinking about this, just what I'm talking about today, and you know all the things that he's accomplished, but also to get there, everything that came with it. And you know, over the years, they gave him so many names like the Drama King, because of how much almost or chaos sometimes that would happen around him, which is almost like sometimes it's just like a byproduct of being in the limelight so much and being scrutinized by the media. And sometimes people almost over criticize you to the point where like sometimes your name comes with certain things that it's not ideal for your branding, or like and sometimes it could just be a thing where people get sick of hearing your name. But when I think about it, it wasn't all. The reason why I bring this up is because it wasn't all guns and roses to begin with. When he first came into the league, let's be honest, I think it was one of the years, well, one of the athletes where I would say had the most to carry on his shoulders. And not only that, but he had so much controversy being in the league. Like, say, the first year, obviously great accomplishment by taking his team to the final by himself. But it seems like he had a rival with the Celtics at the time. Certain players from the Boston Celtics. What's his name? Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. These players that he was playing with, and one could perceive it at the time as it's almost like you can see it as competition, or you can see it as just like it's almost like a form of things when competition goes into almost an unhealthy perception where it's almost like he was on his own, and they were trying to bully him on the court, this, that, just almost beat him up kind of thing. And it's almost like things escalated to a point where one could say competition was looking like, it kind of almost poured out into, outside the court, where shots were fired here and there. And
it's 16 hours.
That's my laptop. But it's almost like it took it to a place where I think it's safe to say even now, where there's been a grudge between them even now. And I guess I mention that because at the time it appeared like not many of his teammates had his back when things got almost critical at certain points at at that period on the court while he was playing, and spilling over to like even years later when he had one of the worst. I think it was just 2011, I believe. 2011. With Mavericks. He had one of the worst performances NBA history. Now, if you listen to like Sports Report, somebody like Skip Bayless, you know, he's always brought it, and so it's a part of his history. So people are going to always bring certain things like this up, and I guess what I'm saying is they would bring this up for LeBron. One person specifically being Skip Bayless, where you know, they're saying like it's one of the greatest meltdown by a superstar. Now, if we're being objective, it technically was a meltdown. And, you know, at this point, going back to when he was coming into the NBA, he was perceived as he was given the nickname the chosen one. By the media. Let me just, I want to say Sports Illustrated specifically, just want to get this right, they called him the chosen one. But yes, so going back to Dallas Mavericks final, one, if we're being objective, we could say he had a meltdown, and he had one of the worst series, if not the worst series, in the NBA playoffs finals by a superstar. I don't really want to go into the numbers, but they were pretty bad. But I was trying to get something here to force, you know, and I think it's safe to say that, you know what, he's bounced back from this point in his life. But I think this was like, it's very pivotal to his career in terms of like a turnaround. Now, in my experience, I believe this could have ruined a lot of people's career, where this thing would be like a black cloud, would be seen as like a black cloud over their career for the rest of their life, meaning performances would be watered down, seen as almost mediocre compared to, you know, what from the past, etc., etc. But you know, today he's won 4 championships. Went back to Cleveland, won one of those, which is part of his championship, of the 4 that he won. And more recently, becoming one of the NBA's greatest scorer. Well, becoming the greatest scorer in the NBA. And so he's now, these are the top 4 in the NBA. You got Kobe Bryant, 33,643. You got Karl Malone, 36,928. And then you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 38,387. And then now officially, finally, the lead scorer, LeBron James, with 38,390. And I think I'm bringing all this up to say, you know, no matter what you go through in life, good, bad, the ugly, embrace it. You know, it's your story, it's yours to, it belongs to you. And nobody knows where they're going to end up beyond their situation, in a sense. And I think it's important that we always keep context on life experiences. You know, and your viewpoint on anything can actually make you or break you. So perhaps indirectly I'm saying, you decide whether you're a winner or a loser. So I would like to think that everybody would want to choose a LeBron James, where you mold your story and become greater than the negative. You make the positive becomes greater than the negative. You own your story. You don't make your story own you. You know, I think that's if you do that, you become one of the greatest winners in life. And I think that's a beautiful thing, you know. So but yeah, let me know what you think. Tune in and hit me up. And I'd like to mention or give a shout out to Grow, Hackney Grow, place in London, open mic. Performed there on Sunday, last week Sunday, and it was fun. It was great. The atmosphere was lovely. Yeah, and I had loads of fun. And you know, I think it's something that I constantly look forward to these days. It's one of the highlights of doing what I do with poetry. You know, you look forward to sharing it with the masses. So like that experience, I hope that, you know, we can continue to kind of grow, and hopefully everyone understand where I'm coming from with, you know, the things I talk about. But of course, if you want to support what I'm trying to do with what I'm trying to do on here, then reach out right now. Get yourself a poetry book or a story that I've written on Amazon. I've created a Linktree account, so it's going to be easy to find all my content in one place. Just click this link. I'll leave it down below with this episode. And you know, I keep things updated and make it easy for everyone to find, you know, what I'm about, what I'm doing, and tune in. Find me on social media. Easy to find, easy to locate. Reach out. We can have a conversation about anything. But thanks everyone for tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your day or night, wherever the case may be, wherever you are. And yeah, take care until next time.